It's funny because I had, I think everybody go through that. In the beginning, you get a black belt, and I didn't go to a physical education college in Brazil, so my experience was by tradition, you know. And it's very important for every instructor to challenge the common knowledge. Sometimes what I call, you know, you have to be able to answer your student when you get asked about, why do we do this kind of stretching? Um, and it's funny because in Brazil there was a TV show for kids, and they used to say, translating was like, oh, because, well, I said so is not an answer. So meaning that if your instructor said like, hey, you got to do it because I said so. Well, there's some truth on that, but you can tell them, well, this is good for you because this and this and that. Or, oh, don't stretch like that in the beginning of the class. And the student gonna ask, oh, but why? I've been doing this forever. And if you answer like, oh, because I said so, it's not really like, you're not really like answering. So you need to know that. And a lot of people come here and then they ask me like, hey, Luigi, what should I eat to lose weight? Or what should I do to lose weight? What should I do? The only thing I can really say, because I'm not a nutritionist, the only thing I can say is, well, this is what I do, but there's this person I know is a great nutritionist if you're really looking for, and that's what I've been doing. I'm going and having my nutritionist. Or for exercising, I can answer most of the questions regarding Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and mixed martial arts because I trained so many people. And I've done boxing, so I can answer some things about boxing, kickboxing. But if you ask me about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I should know more. But if people ask me, oh, what kind of weight lifting I should do for Jiu-Jitsu, you know what? Here's my opinion. Look for a professional. You look for a professional. Are you looking for anything outside? Look for a professional. And I had the curiosity to ask some students, like one guy that trains with me, he's really knowledgeable with physical exercising. He's not a doctor, he's a master in, say, biomechanics, So he has better answers and he can explain to me why I should or why I should not do this. Same thing with a nutritionist. Same thing. So a lot of times my first answer when people ask me, like, oh, how can I lose weight? I tell them, like, train more jiu-jitsu and eat less. That's all I can say. So it's very important to not fall for some opinions based on just tradition that an instructor can give. You see some guys that lift weight their whole life and they doing like powerlifting, bodybuilding, and they come with all these ideas for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and tell people, they should do this, should do that. Like, is this guy qualified? Is he like really like, does he has the knowledge? Has he studied like scientifically what he's talking about? So, for example, in Brazil, I used to go to a sports medicine guy, and he used to cycle. He used to tell me, okay, now focus more on your weightlifting, and it will affect your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, your training every day, because you're going to start getting worn out, and you don't want to get injured. So I will follow more of this guy's guidelines. Say, okay, so you train at lunchtime, your weightlifting or your cardio or whatever. At night you roll more. Now there's a tournament coming, so now you focus on technique, and so of course you need a professional for everything. Same way you need a professional to teach you Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You need a professional to teach you and to guide you for your conditioning, strength and conditioning, and the same thing for a nutritionist. So I tell everyone, if you really want to do this like professionally, and you will need professionals to guide you. So Anything besides that, you're just being amateur. And so you want to be a top competitor, you need top professionals to be helping you out. That's how I think. So my tips to people to not get hurt training jiu-jitsu, well, if you got always realize jiu-jitsu is a full contact, so there's no way something not gonna happen. Like sometimes it's just an elbow or a knee that hits you, this and that. But there's other things I see that I do. And first I listen to my body. I try to, when I feel like I'm already too sore or I'm 43 years old, I keep training every day. So I listen to my body, and I have always done that. I was always afraid of missing classes and be missing techniques. And so even when I was like, say, injured, that wasn't like so debilitating, but saying, it was a shoulder problem and stuff like that, I would go train, do the technique and not roll. Or if I felt something weird during the rolling and, just got something like tweaked, I would stop and maybe not roll for the rest of the day. So I believe even more now that nutrition is so important. The proper nutrition to train, to keep your body healthy, to have energy to recover. This is all there. There's so much about there. So nutrition, I think it's one of the number one things. A lot of people think also that going to the weight room and do a lot of heavy lifting, and they come to jiu-jitsu, they start getting more injury because they're putting more and more pressure on their body. So not giving any scientific opinion, but I realize that you have to have common sense. And going back to what I said before, if you have any questions about that, you got to talk to a professional. I think a lot of people quit jiu-jitsu because they don't train right. They go to a place where it's all about competition, and you are white belt. And it's all about this, about that, and this guy talking about doing this guy talking about that, and you don't respect the progression of your adaptation to everything, to all the groundwork. You don't respect because you get thrown in an environment where everybody's just trying to go as hard as they can. So once you're ready, I always tell everyone, always match your teammate or opponent energy so you don't get hurt. What I mean is like, okay, you go with somebody, I go with her, and she says, oh, Luigi, can I go light? Can we go light? And I go, are you sure you want to go light? So let's go light. So we go light. If she start like getting, I don't know, carried away, and then she start going faster and I'm still going light, I can do two things. I can stop, say, I can stop and ask her, like, well, you told me that you're going light, right? But you're going, so you want to go normal? Or I just don't say anything. I start picking up my pace. But I think like sometimes when you don't match that energy, you don't match the intensity, that's when you get hurt. A lot of times people like, oh man, I was going easy with that guy because he asked me, and then all of a sudden he pulled his arm bar and almost like took my arm home. And you have to do one of the two things. Hey, I thought you were going light. Or you match the energy, and all of a sudden, if somebody complains, you say, well, I was going light, but you all of a sudden like went crazy. So I'm like, I'm matching because I don't want to get hurt, And I always tell everyone, like, at least here, we follow the BJJF rules. We have our submission grappling, a class separate for the illegal things, but during the regular day, from white to purple, we don't do these techniques. From brown to black, then the guys can do. When people don't speak up and say a purple belt going with a black belt or brown belt, if the brown belt don't say to the purple, hey, are you okay with me going for leg locks? What's going to happen? You go for a leg lock. The purple belt is now expecting, and then he can get hurt. But now if you go with the purple belt, that's how I think. That's how, at least here it is. Hey, leg lock's okay? Yeah, cool. All right, so now the guy is expecting. You can go. Maybe you're not going to go, but at least like both are in agreement of what can happen. So I feel like taking consideration how well you have been eating, clean, and what you're doing for strength and conditioning. And if you're not doing anything, just roll more, but find the balance. Again, talk to a professional. Try to match your friend's teammate or competitor energy. All right? When you go into competition, of course, you're going to put it all out. But like here, I say, well, we have the flowing. Sometimes we just flow 20% of energy. And when we are rolling, you use like 70, 80%. When you're competing, you use your 100%. And when it's self-defense, there's no percentage. You're trying to save your life. So that's how I split the 4 levels of intensity. Sometimes we do for warm-up. Okay, guys, just flowing, flowing, no submission, flowing. And we go rolling. You don't need to go 100%. Leave your 100% to the competition, Help the other guy. So I feel like that's how we prevent a lot of injuries here, like, doing the proper exercise prior to the class, or during the warm-up. And most of all that I learned is respect the progression, your own progression. Go to a school where people can respect your progression. Go to a school where people are not going to be, you got to go right now. I'm like, dude, but I can't. Oh, you got to go. But you need to go to a place, hey, can you go now? Yeah, you want to go? Go. You need a break? Okay, take a break. So you respect. And if you want to be a competitor, you push yourself. But always remember that you have to be self-driven. You have to have that in yourself. And you have to push the pace mentally. And you should not need anybody yelling at you. It can help, it can, but try to find that inside of you. That's it. Yeah, training at 43 years old every day. I've been training every day. I train with my students most of the time. And I think most important I found is, like I said before, I'm respecting my progression. I'm respecting my body. And I think like anyone can start. I have some guys joining here at 45 years old, and they see a lot of young guys. They ask like, oh, can I do this? I'm like, of course you can. But it's up to you to let me know what is your limit, because I won't know. So you need to respect your own limit. So if you're doing a warm-up and we're doing like jogging and you get tired in the middle of the jogging, and you want to be here tomorrow, and you want to be here the day after. So if you do everything you can right now, the next day you're too sore, the other day you're still sore, the third day you might not think like, oh man, that's so hard. So not to make jiu-jitsu soft, because you can get to a top shape level later, but you got to think about the later and give yourself time to adapt. So now, if you're already training, I feel like for me, the biggest change was my nutrition since I started using Perfecting Athletes. They do my nutrition, and that made the whole difference for myself. And then I started doing my strengthening or my calibration exercises, and I started doing like going to the gym and doing everything that you would look like, oh, look at that guy, 240 pounds, and he's just lifting just that. And I'm not concerned about how many, weighs, how many, barbells or whatever, dumbbells, and what's the weight, and how I'm going to look for the other people. I'm not concerned about that because I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm just trying to calibrate my muscles to stay healthy. so I can train. So for over 20 years, I've been training constantly every week. And I got injured, nothing major, but even when I had a bad, like injury on my right shoulder, I would train using just my left shoulder, my left arm. And whenever I gripped and I felt like this was going to hurt, I would let go. And I was fortunate to have good training partners that would, respect that. So that helped me to keep training and never taking like a long time off. And of course, accidents can happen. A guy can twist his knee or doing the throw and doing this and that. But I believe that if you have that good nutrition, if you have respect for your body, your progression, you can do this for the rest of your life. I can give you like many examples of great professors, instructors, competitors that they are like over 30 years old, still competing. They're like hundreds of guys. There are guys like on their 40s, they're still competing so actively. And I think it's amazing. They inspire me. Like there's Renato Tavares. I always see him everywhere in all tournaments, and the guy is amazing. Roberto Godoy, I always see him at the Pan Ams, at the Worlds, competing against adults, competing against people, his own age, Master 1, 2, 3. And then you see guys that are not so old, like on the 30s, they're still competing all the time, like Saulo Ribeiro, like Rodrigo Comprido. And they are young. We all young. These guys, they are younger than me, but it's just amazing to see that these guys, they're not slowing down, or even if they slow down a little bit, I guess you still see them competing a lot. And then, I'm sorry if I forgot, I forgot like hundreds of them, but there are so many of them. And when you watch, and if you're a younger guy, it's awesome to watch all the guys that are on the mainstream right now, but there's so much to learn from all these other masters that are still competing and how they inspire their students to be competitors too. So training at an older age is the biggest challenge because you really have to respect your body, to watch your nutrition, to find the right professionals to help you if you need with strengthening and conditioning. Don't watch just videos on the internet of some people that think that they know, but they don't know, because that's how they learn. And you gotta go see all that is behind, so it's just, I feel like having that support and knowing and acknowledging your limitations and working around them, but never stopping. You can do jiu-jitsu until like you're really, really old. And it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle for sure. One of the biggest problems I see when people ask me now with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I'm not going to number, let me try to think here. Number one is the ethics, the morals. Unfortunately, there's some instructors that they have no morals or ethics. And that's because maybe they come from a background with maybe no morals and ethics at home, or from a previous instructor. So that's why I really like the martial arts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That's so obvious. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and martial arts, but some people don't act with a martial arts mindset. So what I mean with that is this, for example, if somebody come here from another team and they want to cross-train, and somebody that I like, from a team that I like, like it can be any guy from any local team. And then you go, hey, Luigi, can I do a training here? Of course. And I don't tell my guys, hey, kill that guy. No, we train normal. And I don't care if the guy gonna say anything good or bad. But what I would never tell the guy is, hey, why don't you come train full time here with us? Because the guy has his team. He has his teacher that dedicated a lot of time. Whether the guy is good or bad, as long as the guy is dedicating and devoting his time and letting this guy go train someplace, cross train, I think it's positive. And you can go there and then train. But I never ever anyone that came here, I never asked to anyone that came here, hey, why don't you leave there and come train here? Because that's not right. So with so many Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu schools opening up here and there, and being such a small community and being a big lifestyle, sometimes I feel like this whole, not everyone, my guys here, I know that they don't do that, but the whole trash talk, oh, those guys there, everybody's so judgmental, right? And they start like this mini wars in these micro markets. Oh, don't go there, go this guy. That guy is a piece of this. The guy's there. Oh, look at this guys. Look how our gym is better. I think it's unnecessary. I think it's foolish. So I believe that that's very important as a business owners. A lot of jiu-jitsu teachers are too, business owners, because you own your school. You compete in a free market where you compete for new students, new leads. And when people call us, we always ask them, like, do you train anyplace else? No, you're a new student. Cool. Oh, you trained before. Oh, you moved into this area. All right, cool. Oh, do you train already with those guys? Here, 100% of the time, I said, I'm sorry, but you already have your team. So I don't like to play that game, because I feel that sometimes it's morally incorrect. When people come in and I'm competing for a new lead, right? Like everyone here is a new lead. So they come, they sign, they do a trial class. That's my time to show what American Top Team Connecticut is all about. That's the time for me to show how core Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Association works. And if people and if I like these guys that are more like laid back, they're like cool, and then this is the place for you. Oh, I'm looking for this like more aggressive training and this like crazy. You Google, there's many other schools around, right? So I believe that is one thing. And that's one of the problems of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu today is the politics, Go to a place where there's no cult-like classes. We bow, we have our masters, and we bow in the beginning of the class. We bow, we face them, we bow. There's no cult, that's tradition. And I give my opinions and people express their opinions. Nobody has to agree with me. Like everything we're talking about here, nobody has to agree with me. It's my opinion. And that's how I run my school. But like some teachers, they're so afraid of letting their students see the world outside. They create this cult-ish, this like shield. And the students, they know we are running a business. So you pay your tuition, you train. Some guys get a scholarship because they are competitors. Some guys cannot pay for, and we barter for something else. And and that's what we help whoever needs. And we do a lot of work with veterans. Sometimes they struggle coming back, so we do offer a super discounted price, if not a scholarship. So we do run a business, but we do offer things for the community. We cannot, I wish I could make everything free for everyone. We can't, but we keep our price lower, so that's why we are in not in a plaza, in a fancy place, so we can charge everybody less, so everybody can do more jiu-jitsu, so in jiu-jitsu can be more inclusive. Another problem I see is like the whole cross-training. I always tell everyone, you want to cross-train? You like cross-train, right? So you like to cross-train, compete. Competition is the biggest cross-train you can ever have, right? But if you're cross-training with people that you're gonna be going against in a tournament, and you want to compete to be a top competitor, so it's just like, there's a balance. I do cross-training with other people. I go myself. I don't mind my students going to places that we say it's safe to go, right? Because I don't want my students to go to a place where they're gonna get beat up, senseless, just because they're a visitor. But a lot of times people ask me like, oh, where can I go in the city? I tell them like, you go to BJJ for the people, You can come here. She shouldn't be here. Go to BJJ for the people with Fabio Clemente. Oh, I'm in Massachusetts. I'm talking about people that are not the same team. You have Michael DeLuca. You have, and I can name many other guys, BTT Boston, Carlos Neto, and, if you go to guys that have gone to Colorado, I don't know them in person, but I told them to go to Amal Easton. And I have people going to San Diego. I always tell them to go see Saulo. And people go to Florida. Well, we have a bunch of American top teams there. But if not, I have people in Tampa going to Rob Samora. And it doesn't matter, The problem is when your student goes someplace else and he got partnered up with the biggest, the strongest, higher belt and got beat up there. So what did the guy go for? What did he get? Nothing, right? So he didn't get nothing from that. So, or if my students go visit a friend that trains at another place, and there's a new place, they start soliciting my students. Oh, this guy is good. Hey, why don't you come train here? So that's sometimes cross-training. It's a sensitive subject. I do suggest people to, if you have friends that train in friendly places, go train with them. Bring new stuff to the school. Tell me, like, hey, Luigi, I saw this position, I saw that position at school. But always making sure that you're not going to a place where people will treat you bad, that people will try to convince you to move and change teams, because that's not ethical. There's no ethics on that. There's no moral on that, And we go back to the first problem with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in some places. So just be aware of those things. And cross-training is great. Don't forget, the best cross-training is still competition. And you cannot beat that kind of cross-training. Go visit your friends in good, friendly places. Go to places where people treat you well, and live the lifestyle. That's it.